Biz böyle herkes girsin diye bir süre veriyoruz biliyorsunuz ki her zamanki gibi koşturanlar oluyor, gelenler oluyor son dakikada onlara bir süre vermek istedik. There are people who are running from their jobs and from the things that they have been doing during the day, so we give them a little bit extra time. Thank you for your patience. Teşekkür ederiz sabrınız için. Birazdan Josh ve Reyna bizimle olacak. Algorithm of You aşk ve partnerlik modülünü anlatıyor olacaklar ve Yaradan'dan ne geliyorsa bizimle paylaşıyor olacaklar. Belki ekstra yüklemeler bile olabilir. In a second, Josh and Reina will be with us and they will be sharing infos and maybe even some downloads about Algorithm of You Love and Partnership class. So very exciting. Çok heyecanlıyız bunun için. Birazdan şimdi ekranın altındaki dünya ikonundan çeviri seçebilir olacaksınız. Şimdi ayarlamadığım ana ekrandayım. Hemen ayarlayacağım. I will be just setting the translation and then we will be starting. Josh and Reina, are you ready? Josh ve Reyna'ya hazır mısınız diye
We are
sordum.
so ready.
Oh, çok hazırız dediler. Harika. Just setting the translation. Ekranın altındaki dünya ikonundan Türkçe seçin.
Thank you. Awesome. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. It's so great to see all your lovely faces. For those of you that are on and feeling the energy of those that are not, always exciting. This is such a great class, love and partnership. I mean, who doesn't love love and partnership, right? I know that we certainly do, and this class is no different. It's definitely for either you that have a partner, or it is just for you, because it allows you as a person to be able to understand how you're communicating with the world around you and your partner or someone in love that you want to be in love with, whether that's the current person that you're with or someone that you're looking for to be in with, whatever it is, it's about you and how those dynamics are working in love.
So one of the cool things that we found out along the way is so much of what we do and so much of what our cells kind of communicate is we're trying to figure out how to fit in the things around us, right? When we want to have a really good relationship, we want to have somebody who sees us. So a lot of our manifestations when we're in love or in a relationship have to do with what our needs are. But as Raina said, we don't actually communicate those things. We just kind of hope those things, and we feel the pressure of a partner, and we feel the pressure of people around us about how that partner works. And we do this thing where we start kind of trying to move instead of with each other. We're trying to move in a whole bunch of directions that are neither. Here's the thing: they're neither them, like your partner, or you. You're actually moving to a whole bunch of conceptions, a whole bunch of patterns about what things are supposed to be. So a lot of relationships fail because communication isn't there from the start. And we know this because we know there's a lot of people who try to get around that pressure at the beginning of a relationship or not jump into it because they're trying to have an outcome, right? Or there's people who throughout the relationship are trying to fix each other, or they're trying to build each other in a different way, and they're not thinking about who's in front of them.
Or they're so busy paying attention to the things that are not there and the things that are there. And they don't realize the patterns that are being created in some sort of a loop that don't actually work for them. And some of their needs and not feeling seen, or some of the things that they are hoping to be met within their relationship aren't being met in each other. And it's hard to sometimes communicate if you don't know what is not being met in a way that you want it to, if you can't figure out who you are in the first place.
Well, let me ask you a question. Those of you who have your cameras up right now, whether you're in a relationship or not, when you wake up this morning, can you tell anybody everything that you actually need in terms of care and affection and support? Can you write it all out, speak it to them, and hand it to them, or just share it without feeling nervous, afraid that you're going to do something wrong, that you're a burden?
Or that you have to sacrifice yourself, or that you have to put yourself in a different position than what you're used to.
No. Yeah, I see the head too. No. That's cool that you can. That's cool that you can. But when you do hand it over, does it feel different? Does the pressure feel overwhelming? Like, did I say it right? Right? And when we start to think about other people, or we start to care about what's going on in their life and we really love them, we care about how we affect them. And there's a balance between caring about how you affect them and knowing how to care about yourself. And that balance gets super
Blurred.
as you move into a relationship, right? As you move into different moments. It can be the smallest thing. And one of the things that you'll notice, of course, is that this happens everywhere, like in lots of situations that we walk into, not just relationships, but
Or partnerships. It does it in business. It can be with your children. It could be with your family, your brothers, your sisters, it could be everywhere. The thing is it's not just this. And that's why we were trying to focus that on the relationships and partnerships that you have with not only just yourself, but with those that you're communicating with and things that you're working on, so that you can understand how, whether you're working it through intimacy, whether you're working it through needs that you're trying to get met, communication. There's just so many aspects to this class that have to do with partnership and love that help you recognize the things that are actually going on within yourself that can be met. And there's exercises that help you to work through and understand what level you're sitting at to better understand the patterns that are being placed within you and what is actually working and not working.
so just yesterday, we had some people over to the house, and there's a young couple, and this young couple is fighting all the time right now, and they've only been in a relationship for
Maybe 6 months.
6 months or something like that, and everything's turning into a fight right now because they don't really understand each other, and they're trying to tell each other they don't understand each other, but every time they try to tell each other they don't understand each other, they argue about who's communicating correctly. And there's a reason for this. Because they're communicating in the way that they've known their whole life, right? They've grown up in an environment, they know those people, these people have grown to know them, they know what they're saying. Mm-hmm. So they say a sentence, they think it makes perfect sense based off everything that they've known and how they've lived and the pressures that they've gone in. And this person who's coming from a totally different background, totally different set of pressures, doesn't hear that. They hear the opposite.
They hear all the triggers that they have already been dealing with their whole life because it's completely a different way than the way that they're used to communicating. So when their triggers come up, they just fight. They go, no, this is not the way it's supposed to be. Listen to me.
And it escalates. Then they realize that there's all these other things that they like about each other, and they're going through a cycle over and over.
A pattern that goes over. And if this feels somewhere like you, then this class is definitely something that is for you. I mean, it talks about things that basically that love isn't random because it is patterns. It really has a lot to do with the people that you're calling out to and bringing back in, or if you're in a relationship already, why you're continuing to do the exact same things over and over, the repeated patterns. Or if you're calling in the same type of person, why are you calling in the same thing? It really is just a pattern thing, over and over the same patterns because of things that we have going on under our own understanding of who we are that just keep bringing the same person. I mean, nobody could say that better than somebody sitting next to me about that patterns that we have of calling in the same person.
Well, look, cells talk, right? Your cells talk right now. Your cells are all communicating different things. Whether you have your camera on or you don't have your camera on, you're still communicating.
For sure.
And if we grow in our awareness of what we see and what's understanding, we start to pick up on all these communications. And that's one of the reasons why we really appreciate the things that you share and the things that you bring to every meeting, is because we're observant. We're observant because we've learned the communication of ourselves, and we can start to understand the communication of others. If we don't learn the communication of ourselves and we're trying to understand the communications of others, it becomes overwhelmingly stressful and difficult because you don't really know where you are and where they are to communicate. And this leads to a lot of us kind of moving in directions, not just inside of our partnerships, but as Raina mentioned, in all these other places. And for how long, right? And then things build. And our system gets built on these different patterns that it follows because the pressure is what we know.
And it's easier to follow those patterns than it is to go outside those patterns and do something new and different. But if we can help ourselves recognize that doing something different is better, then of course we're going to do it, because we don't want to keep doing the same things over and over that aren't working. We already know the adage or saying, if we want something different, do something different.
Yeah, so same, that's same. Hope I said that right.
Sema?
Sema, Sema.
Uh,
I don't know. I'm
I'm
working
not
on my
great at-
Turkish pronunciations. Forgive me. But she's sitting outside,
With her great glasses on.
great glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's got all these molecules outside that are going around and communicating all kinds of different things about her environment, about everything that's going on. And she's listening. She's listening to all of them, right? And as she's listening, her cells are sorting and they're understanding. And what they're doing is they're figuring out, all right, even deciding where she was going to sit down and put the camera on, it meant, where am I most comfortable?
Mhm.
Where do my cells fit the best? Where do they react in a way that doesn't let me feel so overwhelmed, but lets me be comfortable? And she chose a spot. And she did it all so quickly. Trying to do that in your relationship when the same action, something very, very small, might have an entirely different set of memories on ancestry level, entirely different set of experiences. It creates confusion because you're merging two different paths and you're making the decision to merge them a lot. And as you make that kind of emergence, what decisions that we have about it, how we make things moving forward, algorithms of us are changeable, but at the same time, it makes it difficult because the more we learn to do something, the faster we build muscle memory. And when we have muscle memory, it's a fast twitch response, right? The more we've done it, the quicker we try to respond. And we're set up to try to respond so quickly that our life becomes easier. This is all just about easier. So a fast twitch memory will have you sitting back down to do something. And I'll tell you guys some secret, really good one. That goes with algorithm, it goes with theta healing, it goes with anything you want to do. They just discovered that the fastest way to reprogram yourself into doing something new is to do it with joy and love.
Which we know.
They just found out that it takes 30 days to change a pattern, but if you do it with joy and love, it takes two. And I imagine that that's because they don't know how to access all the joy and love. It's just part of it. And we are working on moving towards others. But when you make those decisions to do those things in your life, you're moving and finding your spot where you feel like you belong. And in your relationships, you're looking for the places that you really want to belong all the time. So in your partnership, you want to know who you belong with. You're asking to belong. And a lot of people are asking for their partner to be a place that lets them feel like they belong, that lets them feel like this is where I should be.
And sometimes that's not always the case because, I mean, you can feel it, but it doesn't always come across that way because of triggers, because of patterns, because of different subconscious things that are going on we don't even recognize with them, with us. And we may be communicating them, not even recognizing it, and just maybe triggering things within them.
It was kind of funny as we start to put all this stuff together and we're writing it out. There's so many moving parts and so much understanding about what we've learned intuitively and how people move to the connection of their cells and what's going on, that when we started to write it, it seemed a little awkward to us because we grew up in it. And we've talked about, well, I grew up in it and we've been around it for years with each other, right?
Yes.
So as we're writing it out and we're understanding how things move and what's going on, you feel a little, I mean, write the sentence, my name is, and put your name at the end of it. And imagine that as you're doing that, that's the thing that changes all kinds of other things and helps people understand. That's the we look for a more difficult answer, but that's what we're trying to do. You need to be able to say the easy things and know why they're easy, and then communicate them across barriers to other people who don't understand that they're easy for you. The difficult things are actually more quickly to bond and force communication. That's why we get stuck in those heavy patterns. Okay, that's why we get stuck in battling. That's why we get stuck in anger, is because the people that we love, we want to communicate with, but we don't know how to communicate without vibrations of strong emotions. And our strongest emotions have been programmed on a conscious level into our subconscious to be lower vibrational emotions. And when we start to experience love and joy, and we start to communicate with love and joy and connection, it's too easy for ourselves. And we go, wait a minute, something's wrong.
That's only because we've been living so long in a survival mode. We're trying to be safe. We're trying to keep ourselves alive for all this time in a pattern that we just didn't recognize.
Another thing, we're having fun, right? So you guys sit here, and I want you to think really quickly. If you were able to sit here and tell us, I'm a very whatever person, you want to give us a quick description of yourself, and our response was, that's great. That's wonderful. How would you feel? Would you feel heard?
Would you feel seen? Would you know that we cared? If you didn't, any of those things came up and you didn't feel seen, heard, valued, had worth, then there's something more going on. You don't know that you already are those things.
No, we walked into a room and somebody said, explain what you do. And we said, we teach people how to understand what their cells are communicating all the time. And they said, okay, no, I know what my cells are communicating. And it happened to be my basketball friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I had him tell this athlete to do something. I was like, just tell him to do anything you want to do. He walks over and says, I want you to take 5 steps and turn around to your right. And he said, okay, now what do I do? And I walked over to the athlete and I said, what did you just hear? And he said, I heard coach tell me to take 5 steps and turn to my right. Sounds right, right? It sounds like they're lining up. And I asked him one more question. What else did you hear? Like, what's going to happen if you don't do what coach says? And then kid lets out. I'm going to be in trouble. I said, so you really heard, if I don't do this, something bad is going to happen.
And a lot of times in our relationship, that's exactly what happens. That's what we do. We end up hearing things and go, they just don't love me. They can't hear me. I'm not seen. But then we don't recognize that it's our own things. It starts with us. With us.
Yeah, I mean, here's a really big shocker. We are so unique in this universe that there is no other person exactly like us. It's impossible. It's a mathematical certainty. Science won't argue it. Religion won't argue it. There's only one of you, ever. And yet we communicate to us.
And when we communicate to us, we're thinking that everybody can hear us. That's not always true.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, that makes sense. That's how I'm going to say it. That makes sense. Because you're being taught. You're being taught. This is how you're supposed to communicate. This is what you're supposed to do. And we're stuck in so many supposed tos that when we get in these moments of relationships and connections and opportunities, it's the supposed tos that start to pull it apart, right? Like those 2 people who were here yesterday, it's really easy. Neither one of them will listen to us as we try to tell them how easy it is to fix it. Because they both want to understand each other better than any other outside influence. It's important to them because they're in love.
And that's great.
So when you say something like, hey, this person's trying to feel like they're more included and they just want to be a part of things, their response is, nah, I know
I
them
already know that I'm including them. Can't you see I'm doing it?
And when you say, this person doesn't like feeling like you're trying to navigate their outcomes and take control of certain things, and it feels that way when you're trying to communicate your needs, like they don't have an option. The answer feels too overwhelming.
And restricting, then they just go, no, I'm just trying to exert myself and be a part of the situation. Can't you see? I just want to be a part of it.
Which we say all the time. Hardest thing about being an intuitive is knowing answers. It's the most difficult thing, the most difficult thing. Because if you know the answer, then you have the problem of what's going to happen when you give it to a person, right? And you know this is how they're going to take it, or that's how they're going to take it. And there's nothing more frustrating than knowing the answer to something like, you should turn left today. And then knowing, no matter what you say, they're not going to listen to turning left today. It's maddening almost, because you could have the exact path forward, but you have to wait sometimes for people to hear. And that's what's going on in our relationships. Some of us are growing so fast that we know what we need, we know what we want, and our partner's 20 feet behind us, and we have to wait.
Which is okay.
And we're not the best at waiting all the time, because we're very much built to take care and solve problems and move things. And waiting is just sitting there, and it creates things in your system, right? So all of these patterns of us, all of this ease, all of this opportunity, we have a chance to really know ourselves and know how to be it in every moment. But we also have a chance to know how it's going to impact everybody around us, how it's going to impact our partner. You know, there's a lot of times and things that could be said if you're in anger and you're like, I'm going to prove my point, and you go forward and you see, or you take a look and you go, that's not going to prove my point. You wouldn't do it. Understanding all the things that you process. And I know it maybe sounds like you can't, because we always hear the excuse, well, in the heat of the moment. You process billions of pieces of information. And then you say, in the heat of the moment, I couldn't think about it.
But if you had a different pattern of the way that you were doing things, you could, or a different way of solving the problem. And you could, if you took that just 2 seconds and just took a breath and reacted or responded in a way differently, and so that you could process it, you had that option.
They have just released a study that shows that most of the information that's placed out there is that what we see is 15 seconds behind our experience. Which means when we go through things and we're doing them in life that feel like they're being done right now, we're reactionary, we're actually anticipating it. There's a great study, it was published in the CNN article, that talked about how athletes are intuitive. And what they did is they measured and saw that they were solving things before they happened, way before they happened, because they had to have intuition to be ahead of their eyesight to have the level of success that they're having.
And all of you are intuitive and could do this exact same thing.
We're solving things before they happen. Great study on entropy from some researchers in Canada showed that people are solving what they're not seeing constantly. More information all the time coming out about intuition, movements, and solving and creating. It's time to stop being reactionary and start being creative. You know, if you wait 15 seconds to respond to something that happened 15 seconds ago, you're always playing catch up. We were built intuitively to live and create in the moment as the great creative forces we are.
Yes, and it's time to stop begging and shrinking and pleading in our relationships to be heard, to be ourselves, to be seen, to be a part of it, to have love.
Now, we can make a really good living just translating relationships.
That's true.
You don't even have to have a degree. You could just be a relationship translator. You could put it as a career right there. What is your job? Relationship translator. 2 people come in and sit down. You understand their feelings and how they see things, and you give communication. And you could be a very abundant person.
Absolutely.
Because what's going on is one person's moved by joy and happiness, and they solve problems with backtracking.
Sure.
And then the other person's sitting there and they've come from a program of sort of awkwardness and they have a little bit of a relationship with sadness, but they have some happiness, and they have all these different little emotions that go on. And this person over here, they like it when they find the joy and the happiness. That's their favorite part. But when they go to the other stuff, they don't understand them because it's a different emotion, it's a different vibration. Plus, add in that they solve problems more in terms of being a little bit more brute force. They try to be, I'm going to push this problem through. This is the answer. I know what to do. And then their cells are super attracted, but the patterns of them, how they're programming their cells, how their energy is connecting, they don't line up. So chemically, informationally, DNA says, yes, we're on the same page.
But all the ways of problem solving, the way that they're working with their emotions, they're not really working in sync with each other. That doesn't mean that they can't, though. They always have a choice to choose in which they change things. That's the difference. They can learn how to communicate with each other rather than butting heads.
You come into class and we'll start to show you guys how some of those communications go. We'll start to give you some of that information too about how to be a translator like that for different algorithms if you want, not just
including yourself.
Yeah.
Give you the tools to actually be within your relationships and help you understand how to attract the relationships that you want, or in relationship you're already in, to really have that dynamic working for you rather than against you.
All right. How about some downloads?
Sure, why not? Go for it.
Oh, you first.
Nope.
Me first?
Yeah, you said it.
Oh, no, I didn't say it.
How about some downloads? What you said.
That's what I said right now, though. I didn't say downloads in general. I'm just going back to what I heard from the beginning about we were doing downloads. This is me stalling. Yeah. See, I would like Raina to go first, and Raina would like me to go first. And right now we're deciding what should transpire. And ourselves have already decided, hey, somebody's going to be victorious in this situation. Because now it's not just a decision, is it? It's become a little bit of a competition.
Has it though?
Of course it has. Competitions are great.
Apparently so. How about we just give you some downloads?
Okay, but who's gonna win? You or me?
I'll go first.
Because
I'm a female.
Let me win.
Can we download that you know that you are an amazing, incredibly beautiful person with a beautiful heart, that you know how to be yourself, that you can attract people to your life every day, knowing that there are miracles and that you can see them and witness them.
And that you know what it feels like and how to be able to communicate those miracles and what they felt like in your presence and how to use them as a stepping stone to connect to the world around you and shine the radiance of who you truly are.
If you like those, say yes. Nod your head, do them up, whatever it is. But we are so grateful that you have been with us today. And thank you, Gaia, for translation. You're so awesome. It's been so fun. And of course, if you want to be a part of this class, you know how to find all the information.
There's information?
I know. It's pretty amazing. She has it prepared for you. If you want to know more about yourself and your relationships and partnership, of course, you don't have to be in a relationship to know more about yourself and how to be in a partnership.
That's true. There's lots of levels of partnership.
That's right. But we hope to see you next time or in this class, whatever it is. But have a fabulous evening.
We'll be around.
Yes, we will. Bye, everyone. Do you have anything else to say, Gaia? Yes. Okay, good.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to say thanks. Teşekkürler arkadaşlar hepinize. Thank you Raina and Josh. Ve 30 Temmuz akşamı buluşuyor olacağız. Türkiye saatiyle 18.30'da bir günlük Algorithm of You eğitmenliğimiz var. Hiçbir ön koşulu yok. Bana ulaşabilirsiniz. gaialkanakademi@gmail.com'dan. We will be having the class on the 13th of July. I just said that. Take care. Thank you everyone. Hoşçakalın arkadaşlar. Teşekkürler. Bye bye. Hoşçakalın.